Coach Tony, Risling Podium Performance, and today is going to be the horizontal chest and back 6, 12, 25. So we're going to be starting off with 6 bench presses, then 12 dips, followed by 25 high to low cable flies. And then on the back portion, it's going to be horizontal. So that's going to be some barbell bent over row, chest supported dumbbell row, and then we've got 25 seated rows. So this workout, last week I did 2 sets on the horizontal portion for the back. This week I'm going to do 3. On Tuesday this week for the vertical part for back, I did 2 sets. So for the first 2 weeks of this cycle, I'm alternating those, and then next week both will be 3 sets of each, because I've then adapted a little bit to that increased amount of volume, so I should be able to handle it and get through all of it. Now, hopping into the warm-up, always empty bar. All right, jumping into the warm-up. So one thing I always make sure when I'm doing bench for warm-up is 5 points of contact. My 2 feet, my ass, my shoulder blades, and the back of my head. Then we go 155 pounds, so I'm focusing here on keeping everything balanced out, 4 seconds down. I will admit, when you're doing it, it's a lot harder to count the tempo than it is if you're spotting or assisting a client. But here, the first set wasn't so bad. One thing I do have to clean up here is that bounce off the chest. I want to keep it a lot more strict than that going forward. And then getting into the dips. So take a look at my elbow and at my elbow. Take a look at the biceps and my forearm. I'm aiming to get those 2 in contact with each rep. When I'm fatiguing and that's not coming into contact, that's when I know, okay, I'm starting to fall apart. I can feel it a little bit as I'm doing it, but I really got to focus in on that as I fatigue. And then with the cable flies, it's just really a fatigue work at this time. 25 reps, it ain't going to be fun. When I get to right about here, the 14th through 18th rep, it starts to just hurt. And then as I finish off getting to 25, it's just, okay, deep breath and go. When I'm breathing here, it's just in and out. All right, so a little insight into why I go with this exercise selection in order. Bench press is an exercise that for me is a lot harder to do. So I can load it up and do the 6 reps, and it's going to be the hardest overall for me before hopping over and doing dips, which is body weight. But there's also mechanical advantage there. Because it's kind of like a decline press, you're going to be a little bit stronger there. So after doing flat bench, where, okay, you're not as strong as if you are on a decline, I can then go into the dips and really get the inferior, those bottom fibers of the pectorals, really fatigued in that regard, and I'm able to do a little bit more volume. I've always been stronger on dips than on bench press. Overall, most people should be for structural balance. But for this, I can usually do more volume on the dips than I can on bench press. So this way I'm playing into that a little bit, which will allow me to most likely get all 12 reps. And when I'm doing the cable flies, because that's an isolation type exercise, I'm really able to focus in on just getting that squeeze, that recruitment just of the pecs. One way that you can actually make that a little bit harder for yourself, or I guess get a better squeeze in the pecs, is as you're coming down, don't just keep your hands neutral gripped. Actively try to kind of pronate, bring your hands over top of each other as you're coming down, and you're going to feel a little bit harder squeeze in the pec, because you're actually, that internal rotation from the pectorals is actually further contracting the actual muscle, so you're actually able to get a harder squeeze. Something you can also focus on is keep the shoulders back as best you can, so that your deltoids, your anterior deltoids, aren't kind of overpowering, bringing it forward. If you bring it back and squeeze the chest, you're going to be a little bit more better off that regard. All right, so that's everything for today's 6, 12, 25 horizontal chest back workout. As you see, that last set for the back, there was just nothing left. I just couldn't finish 2 of the exercises. My back is so sore right now. All right, my post-workout is gonna be the usual. 1 scoop of ATP Labs grass-fed whey, a half scoop of the Greens and Reds whole food mix, as well as 5 grams of creatine monohydrate from Clean Athlete. If you wanna get 10% off an order from ATP Labs, go to the link in the description below, atplabs.com, and use code RISLING10, that's RISLING10 at checkout to get 10% off. So if you like this type of content, please take a moment now to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below with any questions you may have on 6, 12, 25. That's everything for today. Now go get after it this weekend. Coach Tony, Risling Podium Performance. Embrace your potential.